And
Friends. Hi, everybody. I'm
hello.
here with my friend Bill, and we were just kind of chit chatting about time and daylight, and we're gonna be having the change soon, daylight savings time, and the spring is my least favorite one because it's the hardest for me to wrap my brain around.
Do you even have seasons down there in Florida land?
Not a lot, not a lot,
Hmm.
but yeah. It's really hard to get used to um the changes.
Well, you have like what do you got going on down there? You have um does it get really insanely hot there by the there, or does it like is it like Hawaii where it maybe it kind of for the most part it stays around 70 degrees and then
It gets
and
hot here.
yeah.
It gets hot, 90s feels like 100 with the humidity.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets pretty hot. I think, hey Ange, welcome. I think the biggest thing is the humidity, right? Because you open your front door and you could feel it just smack you in the face.
Yeah.
So hard. Yeah, so hard.
Mm.
Awesome. Well, what decks are you planning on using? Now, do you alternate decks or do you just grab whatever you feel like at the moment?
No, I'm just using these very specific and these specific tools. I'm
Mm-hmm.
using this, what's the vibe
Mm,
work. I'm using this universal weight keyword deck.
yes. Do you like the keywords on that deck?
Yeah, actually, I do. I mean, I like it because it's like um, it appeases uh, my OCDs in order to want to be exact on things.
Mm.
And so, being that I haven't memorized everything, it it kind of and I like this one because it doesn't have all the extra information on it, like the zodiac stuff that doesn't make any sense to me. And
Yes.
um,
And I find that when you're learning, if it has too much stuff, it gets overwhelming.
yeah,
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 it's really hard. Hey,
yeah,
friends. So, for anyone joining us, Bill and I are here today, and we are going to be offering live readings. Hello and welcome. If you're lurking, I highly encourage you to drop a comment in the chat. We love to meet new people. And do you like dogs? Well, yes, I do. But I personally have cats myself.
I mean, dogs like hot dogs. I mean,
Well, do you like hot dogs?
well, I do. I had like I had vegetarian hot dogs for lunch.
Oh, is that made from carrot?
I don't know what they make them out of. I mean,
The
I have
animal.
oh yeah, I don't like to eat them, but I like dogs. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I've had dogs over the years, but I guess at the end of the day, I'm more of a cat person.
I see. Hmm.
So yeah, we're just here hanging out. We'll be doing readings if anyone is interested. And in the meantime, we're just kind of chit chatting and getting settled in. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
So, Bill, we were talking about your deck and the keywords, and how sometimes in a learning deck, it's helpful when it's not filled with a bunch of stuff.
exactly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're like a person that's into the astrology and that kind of stuff. Do you have a dog named Lucy? Yeah. What kind of dog is it? Is it a little a big dog or a tiny or a little tiny dog? Yeah. Well, yeah, there's if you got too much stuff to know, it's like it really it's really counterproductive to
Mm-hmm.
have too much there.
Okay. They have a black
Yeah.
lab named Lucy. So, Silent, tell me, are you a BTS fan?
What is
Did I get
BTS?
that right? Their name or their handle is Silent BTS with Eli. I'm just curious if you are a BTS
Oh.
fan.
Well, what does BTS mean?
Oh, it's a band. It's
Oh, it's
a boy group, Korean.
I see. You mean like K-pop or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. Look at you all in the times.
Well, I don't really know what it is. I mean, my buddy and his daughter is what like in high school, and that's where I first heard about K-pop was from.
Yeah.
And then he was talking about having to listen to his kids' music and how terrible it was.
Well, I'll tell you, the first time that I heard of BTS, it was actually on Katie Flowers' channel. Uh, she was probably one of the first tarot channels that I found and fell in love with. And she had a friend, obviously, there's a licensing issue here, but she had a
Yeah.
friend that loved BTS. They both did. So the friend created a tarot deck. Hi, Revni. Created a tarot deck themed around BTS, and she shared it on her channel. And I was like, well, I don't know what BTS is, but this is an amazing idea. It was pretty awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
it was fine with that K-pop stuff is I had no idea what it was, but I had used K-pop in shorts, not knowing what it was at all. You know,
Mm.
until like in my first year of this channel, I did a lot of shorts, and I think I grew but I was just doing random stuff. I wasn't like,
Yes. So
yeah,
I find that shorts are helpful in helping to get your channel out to a lot of people. Uh, and so I do them for my channel. But what I find is that ever since I started the verticals, I'm having more people find my channel through the verticals than through the shorts.
exactly. And then I don't do shorts anymore because short short views never translate into long views.
Mm,
Rarely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, Bill, how about if we start with a question
yeah.
for the moment, just to kind of warm up a little bit? What do you think?
Why don't we do that? And then
Okay. I'm going to throw the question out and then
I'm gonna
uh,
write it down.
you
What
can.
is
Yes.
today the third?
Today
Yeah,
is the third. Yes. 3-3 for
three,
our
three.
angel number fans out there. 3
Yeah.
3. Yes.
So you've had a great day so far, Revney. Okay.
That's amazing. I'm happy to hear that, Revneet. Um, I had what you would typically expect for a Monday.
Yeah,
Everything. All right. Ready, Bill?
yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, here's the question. How can I bring more joy into my daily routine? How can I bring more joy into my daily routine?
Okay.
All right. I think that's a good question because, it's simple and something that a lot of people can put into practice. So let's see. Oh, Rabneet likes the question. All right, here we go. All right. I'll go ahead and get started, Bill.
Okay.
So, this is an interesting reading. How can I bring more joy into my life? And by all means, for anyone who's watching, if anything resonates, feel free to take the inspiration, right? Take the hint, take the message, if it resonates. So the first card that I have here is the King of Swords. And this is a person with a very high level of, it's just an intelligent person. This is a person who's very strategic, very, very clear communication, clear and direct. I would say this suit of air is one that just kind of cuts to the chase and gets to the nitty gritty without letting emotions interfere. Sometimes you might meet a person like this and think to yourself, like, oh my goodness, that person is cold hearted, but that's not necessarily the case. They just don't process information that way. And I love this card here because you have the four black birds here, maybe crows or ravens, and then you have this one single white bird on the other end. So it gives your imagination a lot to play with. But overall, I see this as a very serious energy. And then with this card, I have pulled out an oracle. Now, this deck that I'm using for Oracle today is actually a playing card deck. It's called The Weird of Sarah Howard. It's by Gabby Angus West. And because it's a playing card deck, I'll often like refer to the booklet just to kind of see where the card associations are. So the card that I just pulled is the Queen of Diamonds. The Queen of Diamonds. Now, the message in here, I'll show you the card so you can see. But the message is seriously intoxicating. And this is a different image than what we saw in the king. The king is very serious and, focused on what they're trying to do and the business at hand, right? And this
Mm.
one speaks to intoxication. And the little quote in the book says, "You will not drink from my poison cup." And I feel like this card kind of speaks to, in the art, you'll notice there's a hallucinogenic, right? And it talks about how that plant can induce a trip. And so you'll see it's almost like night and day on this one. Sometimes you're in this mode here, getting it all done, staying focused, have a plan, do all the steps. And then on this side, you kind of have that reminder. Sometimes you just need to let your hair down. Sometimes you just need to relax and forget about all life's little BS moments, and just take in the moment. And I was going to say gift yourself that time, and it's ironic because I pulled out a little charm. It is the bouquet, and in the Lenormand deck the bouquet is a gift. And so it's ironic that I would say gift yourself some time to just let loose. It could be, and it doesn't mean, oh, run off and get high. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But sometimes some of us are walking around and we're a bit stiff. And we need to learn how to relax a little bit, let loose, cut loose, let your hair down. Um, enjoy the moment. Take some time for yourself. Close your eyes, meditate, let your mind wander. This could be in the form of art, right? It could be just letting yourself go on a piece of paper, and just seeing what shows up. It could be through journaling. It could be a million different ways to do this, but there's definitely an invitation how you can bring more joy into your life. There's nothing wrong with rules and structure and strategy work and having a plan and being focused. Nothing wrong with that. But we can't be in that energy all the time, right? Sometimes we have to relax a little bit. So that is my message. And hopefully that's helpful to, I don't know, to anyone out there. Ravneet says, maybe they are discerning to what they want to draw the energy from. That's right. Yeah. I would imagine that this personality type here is one that not only observes boundaries, but maybe like takes boundaries to a whole other level. And they protect their space. But sometimes you just gotta do what you do. This makes me think of that. I forget what it's called. Is it ecstatic dance or something like that, where you just close your eyes and move to the music and just do what feels good to your body? That's what it reminds me of. What you got, Bill?
Well, what I got was the phrase taste and see the goodness of the Lord, but also listen to spirit and be glad at all times. That's the basic. But when I move down into some different layers, I get the Michael, the archangel. So there's maybe a need that you need to ask the divine how for help through the day, because there may be some other things going on. You may feel actually blocked from having joy in your life, and or maybe you are too overwhelmed with things and you need to block things out.
Hmm.
It could mean a lot of different things. So I'm going to guess that those workmen are on their way. And then we go on and we have a page of swords, which is a good inspiration, and to be open to new ideas. So it's that taste and see, or listen to spirit to see what spirit has to say. If you
Mm-hmm.
need help, you want to ask for help if you need help. Or if maybe what you need to do is to take time and rest and push things away because on here I got the word bed, and so rest. You need to rest, and then you maybe need to spend your time in some self-reflection because you might have some oddball things going on. You might have a sense of being you might have too much guilt in your life or too much unenlightened things going on in your life, and
Mm.
you need to evaluate what's going on in your life because maybe you're blocked from actually even experiencing any joy because you really would want to turn this thing around the other way so
Mhm.
you get more joy, but instead you might actually be blocked from that joy. And then you also have a sense of this where you need to check your moods and making sure that you're not being too erratic, or you're too, your moods aren't like swinging too much. And so because your moods are swinging, you need to spend that more time resting, and also just spending time in the moment and tasting and seeing the goodness that exists in your world, because oftentimes you can't see it because you're completely blind to it. You're completely blocked to even seeing any joy in your life. And it's so much easier just to remain in this state and say stay away and stay in your keep away zone.
Mm. That's interesting because you pulled out the Page of Swords,
Yeah,
and then I had the King of Swords, and you also had Archangel Michael, who also has a sword. And I
yeah.
wonder if finding our joy might not be cutting out the nonsense that doesn't do us any good in life, cutting ties to people or cutting ties to situations that are
Yeah.
bringing us down instead of uplifting us.
So
Hey,
maybe
Nadine, welcome.
maybe mean that you need to
Mm-hmm.
stop calling those folks that are bringing you down. So you are in this a depressed state, and you need to undepress yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's just a choice, because if you look, there's some other words. Now Pluto, I can't remember. Pluto is like a it's not like Saturn. Saturn is like a god of the underworld, and Pluto, I can't remember what Pluto was.
Pluto. I will check.
And then also another word on here is dog, and dogs are loyal. Dogs are unconditionally um, loving, and so it's about putting within that spirit of yourself the spirit of the dog, and um, and be that unconditionally loyal person while you are listening to what exists, and what there
Yes.
is.
I looked it up. Pluto is the god of the underworld
Yeah, that's right. I
and the
read it.
ruler of the dead. So he's
Mhm.
the counterpart because he's Roman mythology, right? So
Yeah,
he would be the counterpart to the Greek god Hades.
I see. The
Mm-hmm.
god of the interior world. So Pluto. And then the other word in here is humor. Is you need to have a good humor. You
Mm.
need to have a sense of humor about
Ta-da! You need some humor in your life.
humor. Yeah, have some humor in your life.
Sometimes you have to laugh because if you don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah, yeah. Be glad. Listen to spirit and be glad. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's a choice you have to make, to be glad.
Yes, that is a choice, a conscious choice. That
Yeah.
was a good reading. For
So we
those of
think.
us that are joining in the chat, Bill and I are here. We're doing live readings. If anyone is interested or has a question, feel free to drop it in the chat. And if not, we are doing more general style readings.
Right.
That would be, for the collective. I mean, if anything pops up that you feel like, ooh, that really resonates, feel free to take it as your message for the day. Now, Bill does have a commitment today and may have to jump off unexpectedly. So I just want to say, in case Bill disappears, you know why. He is expecting some workers over at the house. So in case he falls off, never fear, I will stay here. Ooh, that rhymes. Hey,
Yeah.
Sandy, how are you? Welcome.
Welcome, Sandy.
Welcome, welcome. All right. So let's move on to the next question, Bill. How do you feel? Good?
Mine, yeah.
Okay. All right. You got your notebook ready? Here we go. All right, Bill. I feel like this is a good question for anybody in general.
Okay.
What's the next exciting adventure coming my way? What is the next exciting adventure coming my way? Yes, exciting adventure. It's so hard because sometimes we just fall into the rut. Oh, good, Ravni. Revni is really enjoying our questions. And hopefully you find this helpful, right? Sometimes you want to ask a question, but you don't know what to ask. And you're like, oh, can I have a general? Oh, can I have a general? Well, guess what? There's more that you could actually ask. As a matter of fact, Ange and I are going to be doing a session where we're going to talk about how to get the best out of your tarot reading and how to formulate really awesome questions. I'm really excited about that. All right. Oh, good. I really love this deck. The Weird of Sarah Howard. Sometimes we just have to embrace our weird. I had someone ask me that question once. Do you think I'm too weird? And you know what? I feel like everybody has a little bit of weird. If we were all the same, we would be boring and we would become bored of each other. So don't be afraid of your weird. Embrace your weird.
Hmm. Interesting.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, yes. Thank you, Ange, for dropping the link in the chat. That is going to be super cool. Let your weird fly. Oh, you're welcome, Nadine. I'm happy that you're here. Yes, yes, yes. Embarrassed to share it with others. And you know what? Like, I understand how you feel because all of us are human and we have that sentiment sometimes, right? What if they think this or what if they think that? But you know what? Like at the end of the day, I want people around me that love me and support me as I am, no matter, how I come off. And so maybe it's a good practice thinking about the previous reading to be yourself, no mask, right? Be yourself as you are. And if people don't like it and they moved on, well, guess what? You just implemented the King of Swords. You just cut people out of your life that didn't need to be there. Okay, Ravneet, thank you so much. Enjoy your walk. Enjoy. All right, so I'm going to get started. The question was, what is the next exciting adventure? What's the next exciting adventure coming my way? Woo, well, the card that I have pulled, actually, I didn't pull these. These kind of flew out of the deck. So we have the Knight of Cups. And I love this card because this is kind of like an invitation to kind of lead with your heart, follow your heart's desire, right? How many times don't we want to do things and then we think about it with our heads and talk ourselves out of it instead of just doing what feels good in our hearts to do? So, this here is encouragement for you to do just that. Follow your heart, follow your pursuits. Is it something creative? Is it something artistic? Is it something romantic? Is it developing a friendship or a relationship? This card here is suggesting uh, to maybe go that route, right? Follow that route. And yes, of course, when we're doing these things, I drew here. This is the Five of Rods. Or the Five of Wands, right? And this is usually a card that may speak to conflict, but also could be competition. And competition is something that's really interesting because it spices things up, right? Sometimes you're in a rut. Sometimes you're in a rut, and having a little bit of fresh energy come in. I feel like in this case, every single rod in here could be a different idea, a different inspiration, a different point of view, a different way of pursuing something. And when you put that much energy together, like it could be amazing or it could blow up, right? You don't know, but that's the fun of it, is to open yourself up to um, new opportunities like this, new opportunities to bounce ideas off of other people, to intersect and kind of see where there are thoughts that align and where there are thoughts that don't. And then the oracle card that I pulled out, this is the Three of Clubs. And I'll show you. It speaks to preparedness. And in this card, you see the female figure. She's in the water enjoying the freshness. And it's interesting because we started with the Knight of Cups, which is a water element, and this is a body of water here. But this card, if I don't know if you can read the little quote or if I'm reversed, but it says, "Always the one bathing in my undies." That makes me smile. This is speaking to, you know, being prepared for anything, which is not always possible. Hey, Moira. Yes, it's the Ellis deck. Yes. Well, this card here is the Weird of Sarah Howard, and I'm using it with the Ellis deck. And so this is really interesting. Sometimes you may not be prepared to do all the things because we're normal human beings. But don't let that get in the way from stopping you from being creative and finding a way to do the thing, right? That leads to the next big adventure. Maybe you went out and you ran into this glorious pond of water, a spring, whatever it might be, and you weren't prepared. Maybe you were there for a walk or a hike or what have you. But in this case, this figure said, you know what? I'm stripping to my undies and I'm going to get in and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to have fun. Sometimes You have to do some of that in order to pursue adventures in life. It's the little things. An adventure doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I have a car and I'm going to drive across the country and I'm going to stop at all these. It doesn't need to be that big. An adventure could be any situation where you change up your regular day-to-day routine. Anything different, because that opens up new things for you. Hey, John, welcome. You found us. So that is my message. I will pass it to you.
All right. John, I put your last name in the title of that video I did Saturday night. I was thinking
Savage.
about yeah, the title that I put said, Savage Poems, or I don't know, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what have we got? What is exciting coming your way? What's the next exciting adventure coming your way? Well, what we got is the manifestation of spirit is the main concept here, and it is governing these kinds of things. A an investment of time, and then also work and working on your project. And in order to go forward with this adventure, go forward with this project, you may need to do a little disconnecting from those forces around you that are holding you back. And um, then with that, you want to, while you are doing that and you are becoming more free and you are waking up, you want to make sure that you spend some time roaring,
Love that.
letting that primal spirit, that spirit of freedom, just rush right out of you and rush out of you. And then while you are doing that, you also want to obey, act in obedience with your true self, who you are, because we oftentimes most of the time, we have cut ties with that individual. Have cut ties with spirit, and we go around in our life as though that spirit doesn't exist. So you really need to acknowledge that the spirit is manifested in your life
Mm.
and obey that spirit. Roar, obey that spirit, and embrace a synergy, a synthesis of body and spirit, and to know that you exist in this state. And in this state of existence, and that then you can hear the spirit say, "You are my beloved." And you are my beloved. And then that's what is the next exciting adventure coming your way. And of course, there were some other cards that sort of jumped out, but I put them back. Maybe I shouldn't have put them back. Maybe one of the cards that jumped out was maybe you need to cut ties with clingy relationships.
Mm.
What was the other one? And I put it back. I don't remember what it is now. It didn't come back, but an old ex. Maybe you have an old ex in your life that's kind of weighing you down, and that or relationships that you are trying to maintain that are not productive. So to cutting to getting to you have if you have these imaginary relationships in your life, you have to be very aware of those things,
Mm,
and to cut that stuff out of your life, or or maybe the thing is that you need to work a little harder
mm,
with that, and work harder with those relationships and put that time in, so this stuff is not blocked. Maybe you don't want to block your investments from actually coming into fruition. You need to work harder
mm-hmm.
and to reawaken those relationships in order to um, come into that place of synergy, or being the manifestation of those energies into your life. That's two different messages from these cards here.
I love that. And I
Maybe,
want to take a minute to remind our friends in the chat, please help us out. Please hit the beep, thumbs up button. We would appreciate you. So I'm gonna come back to the chat here for a minute, Bill.
yeah,
So Ange says the title was 909 Spin the Bottle, Painting a Hanged Tarot Person, Savage Craziness Spun Poems. That was from the chat. What a night. And I feel like that is, we were talking about our inner weird and embracing our inner weird. And then you were talking about roar.
yeah,
And I put a comment in the chat, sometimes we have to embrace our inner Leo, right? We have to embrace our
yeah,
inner Leo. And I feel like that night on that live that you hosted, that was a
yeah.
perfect example of just letting your hair down and just doing it and having fun. I love that.
Well,
So, so good.
I like reviewed that one. I don't usually watch my content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I watch it when I go on other people's channels because I'm trying to figure out, well, what do I need to, how can I be less
Yes.
annoying, something like that, or whatever.
No, not less
Um,
annoying, but I do find for me it's helpful to go back and look at my lives and learn what I can, right? How to improve or how to do things differently or, better, right? Sometimes I go back and I'm like, oh, I think of something else. Oh, I should have said this, so yeah, that was really cool. And yes, Moira, I'm almost at 320 subscribers. I'm very excited.
well, a lot of things, if you're just thinking, let's say, being more aware of how you use language, and mostly it's being aware of all of the empty noises that you make when you speak. And so the things that can turn a viewer off is the use of the sounds um and so it's being in this sense of being aware, and that's one of the things that you know when you have people who are used to you, you kind of tune that out. But if you're trying to grow your channel, you also have to think in terms of of that many of the people coming in and looking in for their 30 seconds, for whatever it is, what the average view duration time is,
Mm-hmm.
what are they hearing? What is that? What are you hearing when you just turn somebody on for 30 seconds and then you flip through, and you know those are the types of things that I kind of think about. And I thought about those things more, like, um
Yes.
more when a while ago, but anyways.
Yes, no, and I agree with you. I am a huge, user of and all the things. I do that all the time. It's something that I'm working on. It wasn't until I started to watch my replays that I realized just how often I was doing it, which is a big part of the reason why I have taught myself to slow down just a little bit when I'm speaking so that I don't make these errors. But, it takes time, it takes practice. We'll get there eventually. But yes, I will
Yeah,
take notes on that.
because
But
when you
that was
listen,
super cool. Uh, your live over the weekend, the spin the bottle, that was a lot of fun and unexpected. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
well, somebody said spin the bottle, and I thought, oh well, I just happen to have a bottle right here.
It was awesome.
We'll just do some spin the bottle right now. I got my little bottle.
Oh, you're so funny. You are so funny. Oh, and John says the bottle always landed on roots. We all got a kiss. John asked me for a kiss yesterday, and I said no because I was shy.
You were shy.
I was shy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Ange says being comfortable with silence. So many people are not comfortable with even the small. Yes, they feel like they have to fill in the gaps and continue speaking. Sometimes you could just sit there quietly and enjoy the space.
Yeah, there was this old rapper, um, a spoken word artist. I don't remember what his name was, but he was like this big. He was a real big guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about how to do that. And he says you may not know what the next line is, but you get to the end of one line and you draw that syllable out. So it's like and Dan jumped over the van to see a bee flying into a tree. The tree was tall, like when you walk down that hallway to shop class.
I love that. Oh, hey, Selena. How are ya?
Yeah, and so something like that, and then the whole spoken word art, and so like when I was up in Seattle, I went. I was younger, of course. I had and there was a huge spoken word poetry scene, and I did roughly 2.5 open mics a week.
Mm,
Uh, it was two one week and three the next week,
I
and it just keeps
see.
around. Yeah.
All right. Well, in case anybody missed it, Bill and I are on. We are doing some live readings. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat. If not, we will continue. Bill, you ready for the next one?
All right, let's do the next one.
All right. Here's a good one. What simple change can I make to improve my life right now?
So, what simple change
Mm-hmm.
can you make? Because I'm not reading myself here.
Mm-hmm.
What change can you make? Then I didn't hear the rest of it.
Okay. What simple change can I make or can you make to improve your life right now?
Okay.
Yes. And put it into the chat. That's beautiful. I love how you decorated it too. So cute.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Moira, if you're here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use the Ellis deck. So today, actually this month, I'm going to be using the Ellis deck and the Tarot of Oneness because these decks, I don't know, I'm on the fence with them. So I'm giving them another shot. Oh, yeah, a great Lenormand question. Yes. Yeah, so I'm giving these decks a try, and you know what I have discovered? For some reason, a lot of I find that the Ellis deck, mostly guys resonate with it. Um, Most of the females, when I pull out this deck, do not enjoy it, and I don't know what it is. I think it's a cool deck, but I find that it works better when I'm reading for gentlemen. Okay. What What simple change can I make to improve my life right now?
Hmm.
Yeah, John, you got a wrench. So don't, gotta take that responsibility seriously, my friend. You can't put yourself in a timeout.
Is that what he did?
That is a song.
Hmm.
The weird.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Let's just see what happens here.
There's a lot of there's definitely a theme today. The Johnny and Billy Show. Ooh. You like that sound, right, Bill? It's mesmerizing. Say it's
John,
mesmerizing.
yeah, the Johnny and Billy Show. Yeah, exactly. To appeal to my inner narcissist, right? that person you kind of want to put down into the darkness of your life,
Yikes.
but we wouldn't be here on YouTube if we didn't have an inner narcissist, right?
Yeah. Oh, John cries himself to sleep every night. And
That a
yes,
song?
I do. I consider it ASMR. I do. Although
Oh,
when I can't sleep at night, I turn on Bill.
do you?
Yeah, because you're on late a lot. So sometimes if I can't sleep, if you're streaming, I'll come in and join the chat.
Yeah, yeah. I was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me not get distracted here. But simple.
Okay. Zzz. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
A simple change. A simple change that you could make. How about honoring your inner truth?
Mm-hmm.
Honor your inner truth. Because how many times don't we go another way instead of just honoring who we are, what we stand for, what we believe in. This queen here, Queen of Swords, this is an invitation to listen to your inner monologue and listen to your inner light and follow your own path, even though there are at times people or situations that are encouraging you to do something else. With this card, I've pulled out the seven of, I think this is clubs, the seven of clubs, and it says the path ahead is strewn with obstacles. The path ahead is strewn with obstacles, and you can see the boat, and the boat appears to have, cracked in half, and it's up against that rock, and now it can't move. It's kind of stuck. And that's in essence what happens when we are not true to who we are. It's really important to be authentic. And, if you can't show up for yourself, then how is anybody else going to? Oh, hey, Karen. Hello, hello. Drive safe. You can listen. We'll talk with you and keep you company. So yes, encouragement here. Finding your inner light, your inner truth, recognizing that things are always not going to go the way that you thought, hoped, or expected, and being prepared, right? Sometimes things go completely out of whack, and immediately our emotion steps in. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Look at this, look at that, blah, 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 all the things. No, sometimes you need this energy because this is the person that's going to solve this problem, right? It's not the emotional side, it's the mental side that's going to solve a situation like this. Pull the charm. I've gotten the alarm clock. Oh my, I almost said alarm cock. Jeez Louise. Alarm clock. Alarm
Well,
clock, right?
when
Um,
I'm there's roosters that are crowing in my neighborhood.
right now, as I said that, yes.
No,
So
no,
something is trying to get your attention.
they
Something is trying to get your attention, and here's the other thing that I pulled out a tarot tile. It is the seven of wands, so this is that card of protecting your space. Well, who else to help you protect your space better than this queen? The
mm,
queen is not afraid to face those hard, uncomfortable conversations because she's direct and she just gets to the point, right? And she is going to protect her space probably better than anybody else that you could think of. So let me see. The question was, what's a simple change that I could make to improve my life right now? Well, learn to honor who you are on the inside. Be direct and clear when you need to be. This doesn't mean you have to be this way all the time, but learn when it's important for you to step into this space. And I'm going to guess it's during times of chaos and turmoil, right? During times where you feel like you're being invaded, people are not honoring your boundaries. You're not When you're in this defensive state, you can't take a step forward or a step back for that matter. You're stuck, right? And the alarm clock is saying, wake up, people. Learn to recognize. Learn to recognize when you need this energy and invite her in. Cock a
mm,
doodle doo.
cock-a-doodle-doo.
So many jokes. So many jokes. I actually have a cock charm that I was going to put in my charm bag. I
But
might
you
do that.
decided to.
Maybe that is my wake up. Drrrr, get
Yeah.
the charm, put it in.
Hmm. Well, this is interesting.
Okay.
How what you can do to improve your life, especially if you are sitting in a place where you feel that you lack the resources that you need in order to live your life. If you're lacking those resources, you need to examine your life a little bit. Maybe you need to walk away from those places where
Mm,
those situations in your life where you feel like you need to manipulate others because you are paranoid, you are being guarded, or you feel extremely insecure. You're insecure because you lack, you have this perception of lack. And so you don't want to feel this way. You don't want to feel anxious or anxiety, or you feel that you have to like um, take pills or something to soothe the anxiety in your life because you have a perceived lack of something. And then you need to spend some time and exhaling and
mm,
breathing and exhaling and reflecting on those things that have on your woundedness and your sore heart or your woundedness, and looking at your woundedness and to see where you need to have those sores healed and how
mm,
to proceed with those sores, not so that they're not like gaping wounds that you are wearing around wherever you go, and maybe those gaping wounds are causing you to manipulate others and cause more misery in other people's lives, including your own life, because you are sore. You need to spend time breathing, and while you are maybe trying to take that stuff out onto other people's lives, you don't want to catch people in your web, that web of paranoia, insecurity, and guardedness. You want to not be that. And then instead you need to embrace that lion in within you, that the strength, your inner strength. And because with that, you have to develop a clear path on how to go forward into tomorrow with a plan on how to navigate through your life because you are wounded and because you have these open gaping wounds that you carry around with you. But how can you go forward into your life with passion and with love, with vision, and not let that stuff fix you into place? You don't want to be bolted. You don't want to have those energies bolted to your house to where you can't even get out. And you're just sort of stuck there
mhm,
because you need to come into a place. So there's a sense of change. You need to change. 1 + 4 is 5, and that is embracing that lion, breathing, and then maybe you need to have a party, a gala, a party, and of some kind, and maybe you invite people into your life and have and be the host and be hospitable and foster that sense of hospitality. So maybe just maybe the party you have is just with you, a party where only you are invited because it's your party, and because you need to live in the present moment, to live right now,
Mm,
because that is also in a sense of having that clear path to move forward. Because if you're not living it right now, it's really hard to see the path forward. But maybe before you can even go forward, you need to draw a bath, wash your feet, and
mm-hmm.
rest under a palm tree. Draw a bath, or just wash your feet in the oasis in the middle of the desert. You got your donkey that's just, and your camels, and your train of your just carrying all of your baggage, and you're just taking a break in the middle of the desert because you ran across this, some palm trees, and there's some figs there, and then maybe there's some olives. You can pluck some olives and eat that, and go rest by this kind of a little marshy thing that's not like a gross marshy thing. It's a little oasis, little pond. There's nice clear water that you can see, and it's not muddy water, but you can just you can bathe your feet, sip on some nice clean water, and rest and breathe in and out. And
So you've made a lot of suggestions with your reading,
I
and
did.
I'm reflecting on this question. So you mentioned like a gala, a party. You mentioned breathing in and out. So if we go back to the question, a simple change that we could make, what would you say that simple change could be?
That simple change could be is just simply to live in the moment or live in the present.
Mm, yes, like the underlying theme, right? I was
Yeah,
thinking about that with my reading as well because earlier you mentioned something about a web.
yeah,
And I was noticing if you look at my queen around her neck.
yeah. There's a web around her neck.
Yes, with the spider. And it caused me to notice that there is a tear of blood coming from her eye. And I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes we keep a lot of things to ourselves, and it hurts us in the process. And I think about the beauty of releasing those things.
Mm,
It's just a
yeah.
simple, and when I say simple, that it means it's not something that's going to cost you a lot of money. It's not like this elaborate plan or scheme. It doesn't mean that it's simple to actually do.
Yeah.
Sometimes the simplest things are the most difficult.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, John says that's great advice for everyone. Be here now. Yes, cuz you don't know. You don't know what later holds, or tomorrow, or or anything else for that matter. And also, John says, is the party going to be at your place? I think you're an excellent host, Bill.
You think so?
Yes.
I used to have parties when I lived in McMinnville, and I had parties. I would. There was one time I had had invited the he was an intern priest over to.
Mm-hmm.
He had actually gone to seminary in Vatican City, and I remember I had him on out for. I had a bunch of people there with a dinner party, and um and so I asked him, hey, so do you have any Pope dreams?
Any what?
Pope dreams. I was asking this young priest. He was younger than I was. He was like, I think I was like in my late 20s, and he was right around the same age.
Mm.
I don't think he'd been, I think he was, I don't remember exactly where he was in his process, but he was at our parish as an intern.
Mm.
So he may not have been ordained yet, or he was maybe just recently ordained. And yeah, that was like pipe dreams. But I was asking him, so I think his name was John, Father John. Do you have any Pope dreams? And then he kind of like paused for a minute, and then he laughed and he says, no, actually, yeah, he was a deacon, and it was yes. Yeah, he says no, I don't want that responsibility. Yeah, but because I was like thinking, okay, all right, so he was in Rome. He'd been in Rome and in Vatican City, and he did he went schooling there. And then I was like thinking of the movie or one of my favorite drama, which is The Thornbirds.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And there was Father de Brickasat, who did have Pope dreams. And especially if you read the novel, if you read the novel 10 times like I have, then you might
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the aspirations to be a pope, and Father de Brickasat did have aspirations to be a pope, but because of the wealth that he brought into the church, they made him a cardinal. He became a cardinal.
Wow. Interesting.
He didn't live long enough to become a pope, but then with that story with the Thornbirds is that he learns that he had a child.
Mm.
And he learned that this boy who he didn't know was his son, and but the mother of the boy knew that yes, this was your son. Mother told him it was his son, and she insisted that he watch over his boy, this kid that he didn't know who it was his son. And so he gave him these opportunities within the church, going to Rome to learn and become a seminary, and he just got ordained, and then he and his sister, they go to, I don't know, it was some other place in the Mediterranean, and then he's there relaxing on the beach, and someone is struggling out in the ocean, and he goes out and saves this lady, this person, and then ends up drowning.
Mm.
Father de Brickasat's son, who he ordained to become a priest, drowned. And then they go back home, and then he delivers the funeral, and then after the funeral, Maggie, that was his mom, that was this woman's name, tells Father Ralph that that kid that he buried was his son. And then at that moment, he dies of a heart attack or something like that.
Mm. Yikes.
And so that's the Thornbirds, and then the Thornbirds are, but anyways, it was just that whole sense of I'd never met anyone at that time who'd gone seminary in Rome or anything like that. And so I was thinking, oh, I bet he wants to be a pope someday.
Hey,
Hi,
Rain. Rain has just joined us. How are
Rain.
you? And I thought, oh, and Audra, I wanted to say hi to Audra. Hello, and thank you for being here. And John says he wants to be a pope because he would look awesome in purple.
So like he has who was that? John said that?
John, John would be awesome. He says. He
He
said,
would like the nun from what was it? Maria from Sound of Music.
oh
Devon.
my gosh, yes. Sound of Music. Who was just, oh, Chris recently uploaded a video where he was singing bits of that song.
Yeah.
All
Well
right.
then,
What do you think, Bill? You have it in you to do one more?
yeah. Let's do one more. I think that we can have time to do that. I don't think that the workmen aren't here yet, but let's just do
Okay.
one more,
All right.
and that puts it.
Okay. So Ange says, John, as the Pope, hell would freeze over.
And
Oh,
then
Rain says she saw the Pope mobile in 85 in Montreal. He drove right by our school.
and Moria said that John has poop aspirations.
You know, when he first said that, that's what I read. And then I went back, I was like, what? And then when I went back, I realized that no, I said, it said
His
Pope.
poop.
That is
And
very cool, Rain. All right, ready for the next question? Well,
yes,
first, before I jump in, uh, Bill and I are just reading on questions that we feel could potentially help anybody in the chat out. But if anyone did have not a hypothetical, but a real question, feel free to drop it in the chat.
then you want to
Uh,
change the name of the person, like Mr. Hanky
mhm.
from South Park.
Yes, I remember. All right, let me see. Okay, how about this one?
Okay.
What is a new hobby or activity that I should try? Really, you could use tarot or any divination tool for just about anything. I remember I was in a live once and the person did like a super chat because they wanted to make sure that their question was read on, right?
Yeah.
So they made their donation, and then when it was their turn, their question was, I'm going to be moving soon, what should I pack first? That was their question. And so the reader went ahead and did a full spread just on that question. And so it goes to show that really you could use the tarot for just about anything. You just have to kind of shift your
Yeah.
mind. Yes, Rain says, I pull cards to figure out what to make for dinner. Yeah, I pull
Mm.
cards on all kinds of regular day to day mundane questions. Oh, should I do this or should I do that? And what about this? And what about that? And I say this all the time, it does not have to be, yes, a pendulum is good for direct questions. It doesn't have to be this big, deep
Yeah.
thing. It could be pretty simple. So let's practice with that. How can I harness my you? Oh no, that wasn't it. Hold on? Where did it go?
What
Ta-da.
is a
Oh,
hobby?
a new hobby or activity that I should try.
Okay.
What is a new hobby? Yes, I use my pendulum for that type of thing. Yes, no, or any kind of this, that question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should I go left or right? I've even done that. Should I go left or should I go right? Should I do this or should I do that?
All right. What?
Mm-hmm. Oh, my Lord.
All right. Let me remember.
Pulling out the Morgans. This is a question for the Morgan. Okie dokie. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, Bill, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So for being such a simple question, I'm glad that we have this question, and I'm glad that the cards that came out came out. Oh, Moira, hugs. That's not embarrassing. There's nothing wrong with that. Put some leprechauns in there and call it a day. All right. Where'd the question go? New hobby or activity? Okay. The direction is, we see here, the Tower card.
Mhm.
So whatever it is, whatever new activity or hobby, it has to be something just completely different and brand new. Something that rocks you to the core. Hey, Anna. Something that causes you to kind of think about things or view things in a completely different way. Um, this is not like, oh, a new actor. Let me go. Well, no, that it could be, right? If there's something that you always wanted to try, but were always afraid to, that's what I'm thinking about here, right? So, for example, for me, I always wanted to try paddle boarding. I'm petrified. I'm petrified of it. But that is the type of activity that would cause this reaction for me. And for everybody, it could be different. If you're the type of person that, you know, is afraid to do a live stream, for example, that's something that a lot of times people who are starting channels face or deal with. This would be the type of activity that this reading is suggesting. Something new, different, exciting that shakes you to the core. New, it could be creative. I mean, we've gotten the Ace of Wands here. It could be something maybe musical. It could be artistic. It could be something, definitely something that you've never done or tried before, but maybe always wanted to, right? I see the crystal that I forget if that's a chameleon. What do you call the little lizard thingy? But to me, it almost looks like, I believe that that crystal is orange calcite. But for me, it looks like a pencil. And I think about a lot of us have these bucket lists of things that we want to try or do at some point. Maybe this is the time. And it makes me think also another thing for myself that would be this kind of like tower type of energy, hot air balloon, because I'm afraid of heights, but I feel like it can change my outlook and my view, and it would be something different. something creative, something that shifts your perspective. So those are the types of activities that I'm kind of thinking of. With that, I pulled a charm. It is the clothespin. I'll put it
Mm.
here. It's a clothespin. And sometimes this is about keeping it simple. Sometimes this is about keeping it simple. Maybe you're the type of person that would never want to go out to dinner table for one. Or maybe you're the type of person that would never want to go to a movie theater alone, right? Think of those things that maybe make the little hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Those are the type of things that you would want to consider. Who am I? Who am I? A lot of times when we're doing these new activities or things that gosh, if I keep thinking, I keep thinking of activities like this for me. Uh, I went kayaking. It was like a nighttime kayaking experience where we were going to be off the coast in the ocean to enjoy the bioluminescence. It was that time of year, right? And it was this for me. All the things. And then I got there and I was petrified. And I'm pretty sure I hyperventilated. And it makes you think like, who am I? Is this the person I want to be? Do I want to keep pushing and trying to learn and experience different things and possibly overcome fears or overcome the things that hold us back from doing great things? So I don't know, something to think about for sure. What did you get, Bill?
Um, there I use that word. I shouldn't have used that word. I'm looking at these things. They were with this question, they were pretty much all good cards that popped out. There wasn't like anything really super negative here. That's what's interesting about this.
Mm,
And so I'm going to go first from here to where the ideas come from of a new hobby that you should try. And the first word that popped out was net. And so I
mm,
thought fishing. So maybe you're fishing. And then another word that came up was apples. Well, maybe you're bobbing for apples.
mm-hmm.
And then another word that came up was rear. Well, maybe are you sitting on your arse doing all these things?
Yes.
Or you want to making sure that you're not sticking that icicle up your arse, or that apple, you know. You don't want to stick these things up your rear because because it looks like But then that could be fun too. You might be into that, into
Mm-hmm.
into doing some rear things. You want to have a new hobby to try, and then you might you can always just try it once. You can always try you know the rear end thermometer once.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a good humor here, and you know because it was
Yes.
important. That was important before. Couple that was like the first word that I drew on the first question was it's important to have a good humor, and so we're going this route of having a good humor here. You're gonna try the rear thing once, in that movie, The Jerk, and then he's in that talking about he's singing a song, and then the rear end thermometer too, and he's in that bathtub, and then that was the time that his girlfriend sneaks out the back door and leaves him. Maps.
Mhm.
Anyways, okay, we'll skip all the rear end stuff, and we'll just kind of go back to the apple and the net. The apple and the net, because that's enough, that's enough. Because you could be take baking, making pies, and maybe we take the rear. Well, maybe you don't want to in this new hobby that you should try is maybe it's something that you want to get off your rear and get off your rear end and hop on a bus, go someplace new, go see something that
Mhm.
you haven't seen before, and then while we are bobbing for apples or we're casting our net out into the lake, you are making some slow, steady progress. You're looking at this idea and you want to move forward. You want to move forward because the direction that he's going is, and then I'm looking at you reversed in the rear end mirror, and you want to look in the forward end mirror because you're actually going forward this direction. You're going
Mhm.
forward, new thing, and you want to be kind of decisive. And then, but along the way, you might be looking at this lion and this lizard,
The chameleon, is that what it is?
the
That
chameleon.
was the lizard on this card. It's the chameleon that usually shows up in the wand suit.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so we have this little creature here. You're just kind of being around. Well, you might, that you cast that net out, and you're going to be capturing these little creatures here.
Mhm.
And while you are casting a net out, waiting for a return, you're actually doing a little bit of resting there because fishing can be a very extremely restful activity. Very
It
restful.
is, and it's not for everyone because some people who have a difficult time being patient might
Mhm.
struggle with an activity like fishing.
That's right. And then being patient and being there in the moment. And
Yes,
then you do
salamander.
the
That's right,
salamander.
the salamander. Yes.
And the salamanders they don't exactly move very fast, but sometimes they can move pretty quickly when they want to. And so if you are doing fishing, sometimes you do have to move pretty fast. And then the last card here was this seven of pence, and in taking this time to investing in nature, investing in this activity, and just, but also this guy, if you're just looking at it, he's just looking there and he's staring at it and looking and being there, enjoying
Mhm.
that moment. And so we look at now when I look at the numbers, this was the 4, then I got number 4 again.
Mhm.
So it's sort of that sort of a stability kind of a stable kind of thing, a
Yeah.
4 kind of a thing. Anyway, that I don't know if that makes any sense. I mean, I
It
was
does. It does make sense. Um,
bobbing for apples.
yeah. The other thing I'll say about this card that I was thinking about is it's important to be curious.
Yeah, to
It's
be a
important to be curious. When you're curious, you ask questions
mhm,
and you seek information.
yeah, meant to be a good sport about it.
Yes. I'm thinking about this card too. Who am I? Sometimes we put ourselves in these scenarios Really, you're like a fish out of water because you're doing something new or different than you're not used to or accustomed to. And
Uh-huh.
that tends to help people see things in different ways. And I also liked on your little card once. And I like that message, right? It's important to give
Mhm.
anything a shot at least once.
Yeah.
I remember my kids, like when they were little and they were so fussy with food and here, try this. No, I don't like that. We like, okay, just once,
Yeah.
take a bite just once. And if you don't like it, I'll never bother you again.
Yeah. Well, Anna
Hmm.
has a question.
Oh, Anna has a question. Okay.
Is there anything spirit wants me to know?
That I'm not seeing. Okay. All right. Yes, so let me see. Anna has joined us in the chat. Hello. And I know that Karen is back and Karen came back into the chat. Ravneet came back from her walk. So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your walk. And if I could remind our friends in the chat to please help us out by hitting the thumbs up button. I know most of you are likely subscribed to both Bill and I. So thank you for being here. And yeah, Anna, we're happy to read for you today.
Yeah,
See
and I
what
think that
comes up.
one.
And then just a reminder for our friends in the chat, Bill has a commitment and it's possible that he may need to disconnect and rush off. So just letting you know in case that happens. Oh, did somebody lose a pet? What's going on here? Hi, Maria. Oh, well, first of all, welcome and thank you for being here. I'm very, very sorry to hear about your loss. I think, I for one know, what that is like and I know how it feels. And, hopefully we can provide a safe space for you because I know that it could be overwhelming. Flood of emotions. John. All right. We are reading for Anna, and let me see. Anna. Anything spirit wants me to know that I'm not seeing. For our friends in the chat, we're giving John a hard time. John has a new gal pal. Okay, Anna.
I think that's what is some
Mm-hmm. Sophie, that's a beautiful name. We have a friend, and she has a pet bird named Agador. And yes, they definitely keep you company and sing and talk, and their presence will definitely be missed, Maria. Big hugs for you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, Bill, on the message for Anna. So, Anna, I'm doing an oracle card message for you. And I'm going to start with this card here. It is the 10 of clubs. The 10 of clubs. And similar to what you might expect in the tarot, right? This is a card of overwhelm. And this card has come up. It seems that this is something that you deal with. Uh, in other words, it might feel easy to overwhelm. So, what I wanted to do for you today is offer you a couple of suggestions to help you deal with this feeling of overwhelm, because whether we like it or not, life happens, and we have to deal with unexpected situations, or we're triggered by memories, by people, by smells, by all kinds of things. And so overwhelm is something that we, as people having this human experience, we have to learn how to navigate it and how to manage it in order to preserve our mental state. So, the first thing that I'm going to, and these are not suggestions that I'm like, oh, I think you should do this. No, this is what has come up for you. So, this is what I'm going to share. Sea Eagle Envy. And I love this card. For me, automatically, I feel like this is asking you to shift your perspective. Take a step back away from the things that bring you overwhelm and try to look at them. This is that very common expression, bird's eye view, right? You try to look at things from a different perspective, take a step back, that expression, looking at the forest through the trees, something to that effect. And so something that you could potentially do when you find yourself in overwhelm is to take a step back. Now, that could be taking a break, that could be redirecting your energy into something different, something that brings you joy or pleasure. It could be a lot of different things, but definitely spirit is wanting you to shift your mindset and look at things from a different perspective. The other card that came up is the Two of Diamonds, and it says flaming liberty. And what this card is suggesting is finding something that brings you freedom, finding something that helps you feel that you are free and loose and open. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here. The card or the image in the card is suggesting time outdoors, time in nature. Now, I don't know if this is your thing, if you're the camping type of person. Earlier, we were talking about fishing. I don't know if that's you or not. It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, go and pitch a tent and, and forget all your problems. But sometimes when you're in a situation that causes you overwhelm, by shifting and doing something completely different and shifting perspective allows you to see things differently and view things differently. It also allows you to kind of disconnect and unplug. I think that's the biggest thing that I enjoy when I go camping is having space to do nothing. There's an expression in Italy, and I forget what it is right now, but it's basically the art of doing nothing. And this is what I see for you. Spirit really wants you to find healthier or productive ways to deal with your overwhelm. I feel like activities like this help you ground, help you clear your mental space, help you connect with nature, with Mother Earth, and ultimately with spirit. Because you're in such a quiet environment, it really allows you to hear the messages that are coming through for you. I always think like prayer is that act of telling spirit or asking spirit for the things that you need. And meditation is the act of listening to what spirit has to say. So that is my suggestion and recommendation based off of what I'm seeing in the cards, my dear. Hopefully, you can, put some of that into practice for you to help you deal with all of the things that you're currently dealing with. Because, I would agree, yes, sometimes it feels like we're dealing with more things than we can possibly handle. So hopefully that's helpful to you.
Okay, let's see how I put this into something kind of more simple here. What we got is, I think the crux of everything is this here.
Mm.
This is the main thing that we got going on here is that you have a you have something that you need to put behind you, a healing that has to come about that, and you're hanging on to that healing, and you're this woundedness, you're kind of holding on to it and burying this thing down, and in the process of doing that, it is leading you away. You're kind of sitting here under the tree, but there's always these, either that this stuff here is keeping you rooted here, or it is luring you away from what it is that that is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a divided heart. Your heart is divided. Your heart is divided. And I got this word divide and split come to, because what really I got this some strong sense of the number 22. The number 22, it just popped up, and so I didn't draw this card. I went in looking for it, and while I was looking for it, I looked at the other numbers that sat up right in front of it, before and after it. And so then this was your 22. It's this 4. It's this 4. This hanging on, and this number 4. But of course, 22 being a yes, and 22nd is my birthday too. But the 4, that hanging on, and then in that there are these numbers. There was a sense of that you're of dodging, and trying to ignore whatever this is for you. And then, but at the same time, you have this dodging, you have burying, the word bury, you're burying this stuff down, you're holding on to it, you're burying it down, and it's preventing you to being pulled away from you. Maybe there's something that's trying to pull it away, but you're kind of stuck here. You're stuck here in this spot. You're stuck in this spot. And so there is a sense that of the other word was like trapeze, and the acrobatics that you are going through in order to either blind yourself to this issue, because your question, what are you not seeing? Maybe you're not seeing that you are on a trapeze and you're not actually going anywhere. You're just swinging back and forth between these different states. And we have, but maybe the way out is to waltz, to dance. What does that mean, to dance? To be free, to enjoy music, but you in waltzing, you are with another individual, because you don't waltz with yourself.
Yes.
That is a two-person kind of activity. Of course, you can do it with 3. It's a little bit more difficult. I've seen people do it before, but I'm not coordinated enough for that. And then there's a sense of this other word, yoga. And yoga, which is it could be a spiritual activity or just a body activity, an activity with your body. You have waltzing, you have dance, you have this stretching and flexing and being centered into yourself, because yes, you do have this great divide that is there. Your this woundedness, this dividedness, whatever it is that is this wound here. And then I am going to, and then I have a poem that came up, and this is these are just the words that popped out, and I just wrote them down. These are signs. These signs are hidden to sense forbidden. Blood is poured, flesh is broken. Know to be known, taste, receive, to be one who cannot waste. And that's the little, and that came on page 841 of my missile, and that number broke down to the number 4. And so we look at how many times did the number 4 show up here. The number 4 that showed up there. We have the number 4. The number 4. the number four, over and over again, the number four.
It's like spirit is wanting her to know that she needs some kind of stability.
Yes. So you need to really concentrate on that number four or the 444.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. And it feels like my reading was highly encouraging nature and the outdoors, and your reading is highly encouraging coming into your body. And both of those are earth energies.
Mhm.
And it seems to me that maybe some sort of grounding practice might help you come out of your mind a little bit and back into your body. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes. So
All
hopefully
right.
that's helpful. Thank you so much for your question. Thank you for being here today. And, as always, thank you so much for your love and support. I really appreciate everyone who is here today. Um, it's so much fun to be able to, sling cards with friends and get all the different questions and flex your intuition in so many different ways. So, you know, I thank you, really. Thank you for your love, for your support, for everything, for all the thumbs up, for being around. And, we couldn't do this work that we do without you all.
Yeah.
So I want
And
to make
so,
sure to express my gratitude because, it's difficult having a small channel and trying to learn and grow and try different things. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I need to carry on with my duties here,
Got it.
and and Elizabeth is going to be on with me tomorrow on my channel, and we're going to do the tower card for coloring, but we're going to do something a little bit different. And she has done a sketch of the tower. So maybe what we'll do is that we'll do, instead of something that takes like 2 hours, we'll try to be really fast. And I will tell her what color she's going to paint hers, and she's going to tell me what color to paint mine.
I'm very excited about that. I'm looking for. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait. So I'll be on Bill's channel tomorrow, and let me see what else. And then I think we have we'll have the new moon event, or sorry, the full moon event next week, I believe that is. And then somewhere in the middle, we have the tarot question, how to frame up a tarot question on Angie's channel. So a lot of good things going on. And we hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Making
All right.
Charms live with me. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Yes.
All right. Well, that's right. We'll be painting together. Liz and I will be painting together. I'm gonna do that thumbnail a little bit. I'm gonna schedule that live just a little bit later today. I have another one that I'm scheduling for Friday with Soul Whisperer.
Althea, right? Is that right?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna try and do something because Lent is coming up, and so I thought, well, I have these things on my drawing table, these things that I collected off last year's trees, and I think I'm going to take the petals and I'm going to burn them, and because the new ones are going to be coming on in like a month, and I can pick some new ones for this next year coming up, and maybe do like an ashes thing. Whether I'll do it live or not, I may not do it live because I kind of want to do it outdoors, and my Wi-Fi field may not extend out there.
Oh, yeah.
It can to a certain degree, but
Mhm.
But it would be better if I did it in such a way that, but if I run it in a canned sort of a way, then I may set it out like a premiere, and that way I could be present in the chat.
Oh, in the chat. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but no, granted, would anybody actually? But I'm kind of really loath to want to even do long plays because they don't really get any views at all. So it's just like, why bother? That's the way I kind of feel about it.
I don't know. I like the longer videos.
Yeah.
I like the longer videos. So, yeah. And Karen, it sounds like there's definite interest. You should do a craft with me session where
You want
everybody
me to?
brings their crafts and everybody crafts together. That would be fun too.
Anne says I need to go out to the woodshed. Is that like some metaphor for like whipping or something like that out in the woodshed?
No, but I would love to see the chopping of the wood and the stacking of the
Um,
stocking of that area there. I think that's super cool.
well, then you can just rewatch that one video because I didn't have any other trees blow down in the last year or so.
I see. I see.
All right. Well,
Oh,
I need to carry on with my duties and so forth.
yes.
And I got my bottle. We can, maybe Saturday we can try to spin the bottle again.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
That was
Oh,
just really
good.
so spontaneous. I don't know about that. If because I don't think I can reproduce that magic.
It was very spontaneous and that was the funnest thing. I loved like pausing the painting and drawing cards all of a sudden. That was really cool. I
Well,
like that.
that's right, John. I got the bottle. Got some savage bottle spinning. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Then
my
I can
gosh.
go. I can go and do that talk. That do I got? Oh yeah, I got one of those bottles. That some cheap,
John, you're too
cheap,
much.
cheap booze bottles. I mean, like that.
Moira, that reminds me of the movie 13 going on 30. Was that it?
Mhm.
With all you need is a bottle and a dark closet?
Yeah, well, when I was like doing some of my earlier channels, when I was entertaining myself on the graveyard shift, I did a whole series of videos. I built sets in the barn, and so I did this whole series called Drunk Poet, and I would go drink this extremely cheap liquor, and then I'd read poetry all night and film myself. I have all of those videos. They're all hidden on my earlier channels.
Oh, goodness. John says the the elongated goodbye.
Elongated goodbye. Yeah, yeah. It's that
Bill
Midwestern
says
goodbye.
goodbye, but he doesn't want to leave. That's why.
I know, I know. It's that then what is it? Wasn't in the Garrison Keeler that then they end up by slapping their thighs and going, I think it's time for me to go because those workmen are here. All right.
All right.
Bye
Thanks so
bye.
much, everybody.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye.